Tensura. The Abyss Demon by Wahab Adebanjo Chapter 21. Third-person POV. In the southern region of the Supermagic Empire, stood a city of technological wonder. A region designated for carrying out dangerous experiments. It housed over 20,000 high humans. At the center of the city is a humongous structure, a castle-like structure that acts as the headquarters of the city. Within the deepest parts of the castle, a tall man of lean stature was carrying out an experiment on a dead body, the body of an elf to be precise. He wore a lab coat and gloves to protect him from making any contact with the fluids of the deceased. Around him were various high-tech artifacts. The man was fully grossed in what he was doing, until he was suddenly interrupted by someone entering the lab. With a hurried pace, the man entered and called out to his master while bowing, "Lord Crollo, I apologize for interrupting you, but we have a problem." The man was shivering in fear of what his master would do for interrupting him. Looking up at the kneeling man, Crollo said, "This had better be good. I don't have all day, so be quick." The man kneeling breathed a sigh of relief. "It has to do with the divisions we sent out to acquire specimens. We've lost all contact with them," the man said. "What? Since when?" Crollo asked. "For days now, my liege," the man replied. He as well didn't understand what was going on. "For days? And you are just telling me this now? What a bunch of useless fools. Do I have to do everything myself?" Crollo was so pissed that he couldn't help but violently kick the man. The project they were conducting was very important. A project that would please their ancestor as well as giving him power, absolute power. Taking off his lab coat, then wiping himself clean, Crollo made his way out of the lab with his subordinate right behind him. "Any news about their whereabouts?" Crollo asked. "No, sir. We have sent a search party, but none have reported back," the man replied. The man relayed all the information he had about the strange occurrence. After walking for a while, they both reached a conference room. "Assemble everyone right now. Let us figure out what's happening before things escalate." The man left after bowing respectfully to carry out the order of Crollo. It didn't take long for everyone to assemble into the conference room. After making sure everyone was present, Crollo began. "I've been informed that we have lost contact with the 5 divisions we sent out. Why wasn't I informed earlier?" One of the men seated around the table answered. "We didn't inform you so as not to disturb you while you were busy. We decided to take care of it ourselves. Then once everything was taken care of, we planned." The man couldn't finish his statement because his head was blown off faster than anyone could react. Everyone was gripped by fear. Their master was angry. "You fools! Do not incur my ire. Our goal here is to create something that would bring prosperity and greatness to the Magic Empire. We are to show Jahil-sama that we are not useless, yet you are all proving otherwise." Crollo was beyond furious. After all, if he didn't make any substantial contribution to the Empire, then Jahil would have his head on a stick. Everyone knew that. That's why they've all been working hard so as not to be discarded by their ancestor. Their current project was meant to fix that, but a problem had arisen. Breathing in then out, Crollo asked, "Does anyone have useful information on what's happening?" Everyone in the room remained silent. Just then, someone barged in looking like he just saw a ghost. "Who dares barge in like that?" one of the men seated yelled. The foot soldier kneeled without a thought. "I apologize for my rudeness, my liege. I have brought important news. We have received a distressing message from one of the groups we sent out in search of the 5 divisions." Upon hearing that, everyone's ears perked up. "What does it say?" Crollo asked without wasting time. Shivering non-stop, the person replied. "The search party were attacked by a demon during their search. Everyone was killed. Luckily, one person managed to send out this message before he was killed." Everyone in the room was shocked. They couldn't believe that the reason for their worries was a demon. "A demon? Are you trying to tell me that the divisions I picked with my own hands were slaughtered by a mere demon? Quahahaha, you must be joking." Crollo once again had a reason to be furious. High humans consider themselves to be superior to any of the other races. To be killed by just one demon was shameful. "What else did you find out?" Crollo asked. "Apart from the fact that the cause of the chaos is a demon, nothing, sir." The man bowed. Just then another person barged in looking horrified. "My liege, we have a problem. It's an emergency." "What is it this time?" Crollo asked, looking annoyed. BL. Blood rain. Those were the only words he could muster. Everyone had a confused expression on their faces. Crollo was the first to move. He made his way to the exit, his intention being to see what all the fuss was about. The others followed behind him. It didn't take long for them to reach the balcony of the castle, a place that overlooked the city from a great height. And true to the words of the soldier, the city was having a tumultuous weather. A great storm that made the wind haphazard, the sky clouded, but what captured the attention of everyone was the blood that fell in place of water droplets. It painted the city red. The blood fell on everyone as they wondered what could be the cause of such a calamity. Before they could get an answer, something bizarre happened. Limbs, organs and various body parts began to fall from the sky. It littered the streets, horrifying the inhabitants. The storm spread out to every corner of the city. It was apocalyptic. Crollo suddenly felt a strange sense of weakness coming over him. Air! A pained scream was heard. It came from behind Crollo. He turned back to see that majority of his subordinates were on the floor in pain. Their body was turning purple, blisters surfaced on the skin as they writhed in pain. Some immediately died on the spot. This sparked fear into the hearts of everyone present. It was then that Crollo realized that the blood was poisoned, or most likely the blood itself was poison. Quickly devising a way to neutralize the poison before it could take effect on him, Crollo erected a barrier to prevent further exposure to the blood. He also warned what was left of his subordinates. Utilizing magic sense, he realized that everyone who was exposed to the blood was killed without being able to resist. The resilient body of the high humans was no match to the poison. He was able to counter it by using thought acceleration to analyze the poison and create a countermeasure. Unfortunately, he couldn't fully analyze the poison, which was why his nose was bleeding and purple spots began to appear on his skin. Not only him, his subordinates as well. Just then, something fell right next to Crollo with a loud thud. Looking next to his feet, what he has shocked him. Silas. It then dawned on him. Whatever was the cause of all this was in no way weak. Everyone freaked out upon seeing the lifeless head of one of their masters. That is Lord Silas. A voice said, "It can't be. What monstrosity did this?" Another voice said. Various statements were uttered. One of Crollo's subordinates saw a silhouette walking calmly to the castle. "Who is that?" Pointing at the silhouette, he absent-mindedly asked. Everyone's attention was pulled towards the incoming figure. Looking closely, they realized it was a child. One of them asked, looking puzzled. Crollo, who was far knowledgeable than the dumbasses present, instantly realized what they were dealing with. That is no child. That is a demon, an extremely powerful one. The fact that they couldn't even tell that the child was a demon was proof of the demon's power and its ability to hide its race and power. Even he didn't feel the presence of the demon. Realizing the futility of facing the demon without sufficient support, Crollo made his way back into the castle. Stop that demon at all cost. He left it to his subordinates to buy time for him. No. We are so close to figuring it out. Why did this have to happen now? With things playing out like this, Lord Jahil will surely abandon us. He muttered, cursing their terrible luck. Chapter 22 Argent's Pav. After obtaining as much information as I could from the Silas guy, I made my way to the location of the other high humans responsible for my summoner's anguish. On my way there, I came across other high humans whose goal was to kidnap people. They were indiscriminate, they kidnapped elves, dwarves, humans, etc. I couldn't stay still and watch as they wiped out villages and towns while taking the survivors as slaves. I massacred them all. I got the location of different storage facilities where they kept the kidnapped victims. One after the other, I made my way to the facilities and wiped them out before they knew what was happening. I also freed the victims. Later on, more high humans showed up on 5 different occasions, but they were no different from the others I massacred. After taking care of all the storage houses, I made my way to the region where all this started from. At the southern part of the Supermagic Empire, was a place set aside for cruel experiments that made use of living sacrifices. After asking the reason why they were doing this, none of them could give me an answer. Turns out only the higher-ups knew. It pissed me off even more. They killed indiscriminately without being given a reason as to why. Do they think themselves as gods to be able to do this to other people? Many have suffered, many have died, yet they don't care. Stealing my resolve, I decided on my next course of action. Arriving at the region, I cast the spell I had chosen to use on these fools. Using the blood and corpses of the high humans I killed, I created a rainstorm. Powerful winds were generated, blood, guts and body parts fell, each carrying a poison I had concocted. The moment it makes contact with someone, they will undergo a painful mutation. It will begin with a feeling of weakness, then purple spots will appear on their body feeding on their life force. After that, their body would undergo a painful mutation that will change the structure of their body on a molecular scale, thereby killing them. Let them feel the kind of pain they dish to others. 10 minutes after I had created the storm, I descended to the ground close to the castle, to see the pained expression of these heartless mongrels. Walking calmly through the chaotic streets, I made my way to the castle. I spotted multiple people on a balcony that overlooked the city. Not sparing a glance at them, I trudged towards the castle with a carefree attitude. I watched as those who struggled to overcome my poison died. I somehow found it funny that they thought themselves to be superior to other races, yet they are dying the same way other races do. Finally getting to the front of the castle, I stopped to assess the small fries making their way towards me. In total they were almost 100 in number, though there are still more within the castle. They must be relatively strong to have overcome my poison. But they are still small fries. After all, it's a low-level poison I casually made. Dash 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 dash. Third person POV. All those who came to stop the demon were cautious, they couldn't help but be. The demon had managed to kill everyone within region. Only those who are guarding the castle are supposedly alive. Some were skeptical while looking at the innocent-looking child. If they weren't informed that the child was a demon, they would have been fooled. Stop right there, demon. Return to your realm before we smite you. They were once confident of their strength as high humans, but if the demon in front of them could kill their brethren without moving a muscle, then they were in for a tough fight, or so they thought. Looking up bothered, Argent asked, "Tell me, what do you plan on using the kidnapped victims for?" He wanted to know before he killed them all. He may look calm on the outside, but he was furious. What does that have to do with you? Could it be you were summoned by one of the specimens? One asked. Specimen. Is that what they are to you? Argent asked with a cold look on his face. That's what everything that lives is to we high humans. We are beings superior to all. Before he could finish his sentence, he heard a voice coming from behind him. If you are not going to answer my question, then I see no reason to keep you company. Faster than all of them could react, Argent had gotten behind them, casually walking to the unmanned entrance. How did he get behind us? I didn't feel anything. Just what is? His thoughts were drowned out by the spectacle that happened before his eyes. One after the other, everyone present started losing their heads. They had all been decapitated so fast that it took some seconds before they realized it. Without much of an effort, Argent had managed to get through the first obstacle. High humans are beings with great affinity for magic. It is why almost all high humans are mages. You will hardly find a high human that is adept at close combat, thought Argent. As he made his way towards the deepest part of the castle, many came to stop him, but died trying. This showed the immense power of the ancient demons. Beings whose powers are unrivaled in the cardinal world. Very few are able to come close to the power they possess. As Argent made his way to the strong presence deep within the castle, he came face to face with abominations. In-depth analysis shows that these grotesque-looking monsters are or were humans, beastmen, elves and dwarves. Each monster possessed a fairly huge amount of magicules within them, something which should not be. Apart from the high races, humans, elves and dwarves, lessers of the high races have little to no magicule reserves. This is because magicules is poisonous to them. If these abominations possess magicules reserves as much as they do presently, then it must have been as a result of the cruel experiments carried out by the high humans. After all, it is well known that if mortals are exposed to huge amount of magicules, they either die of magicule poisoning or in rare cases become monsters. It did not take long for Argent to reach the truth after thorough analysis. He sympathized with the victims and ended their misery painlessly. Dot, 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 dot. After minutes of taking care of the weaklings, Argent made his way into a tomb. Not just any tomb, a laboratory. It was the place where all the cruel experiments take place. Entering into a huge room the size of small football field, Argent saw the person in charge of this region standing on an altar. With him was a huge magic glaive. A long staff with a broad and curved blade at the tip of the staff. At the base of the blade was a round-shaped orb the size of an apple, embedded into the weapon. The orb glowed golden, emitting huge waves of mystical energy. Less than notice. An anti-magic spell has been engraved onto the walls of the room. Greater than. Cutting off any sort of magic so as to gain the upper hand, not bad. It is well known that demons are known for their magic and not close quarters combat. It's quite intriguing that the high human in front of me is a close quarters combatant. Whatever, I'll play along. These were the thoughts of Argent as he stared at the man who was smiling in glee, thinking he finally trapped the demon. What caught Argent's attention the most was the orb embedded in the glaive. What is that? It contains a tremendous amount of energy, not just any energy but life energy. So that's why they have been kidnapping people. Argent stopped, analyzing what the man was holding. To think you would get this far, you are one powerful demon. Tell me who sent you, I want to know the bastard that was dumb enough to summon you into the world. The man yelled maniacally. His body was shivering, he was now in a flight or fight mode. He realized that he couldn't fight this demon with his own power. Which was why he activated the anti-magic function of the tomb. Thereby sealing the magic demons pride themselves on. Ignoring his question, Argent spoke, so that's what the kidnapped victims have been used for, an energy source. Ha 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 ha, yes, those inferior beings should be happy that they can be of use to us. We are God's chosen ones, with the help of Jahil Sama we will rule this world. Using people as an energy source is quite stupid, that's quite cruel of you. You high humans are capable of magic and therefore have huge reserves of magicules, what's the need for a magical energy source? You don't need the life force of inferior beings to achieve your goals. Argent said. He was guiding the conversation in such a way that the man in front of him would spill everything he wants to know. Oh, it is a necessary sacrifice, you see. To create an alpha rune, we need a tremendous amount of energy and sophisticated magic rituals. Argent was confused. Alpha rune? Argent asked. Yes, alpha rune. To conquer the world, we need power. Absolute power. With that in mind, I took it upon myself to create a source of infinite magical energy, an alpha rune. A stone that would give its wielder the power to rule the world. Alas, production was difficult. Large amount of sacrifices were needed. Despite acquiring a large number of specimen, we could only create inferior versions of the alpha rune, a rune stone. Crollo said while raising his staff and pointing at the golden stone within it. Of all the stones we've made, this is the closest we've gotten to the alpha rune. A stone with potent energy that can destroy demons even as powerful as you, ha 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 ha. Kneel before me and I may just spare your life. Pledge your loyalty and I shall show you the wonders we will bring into this world. Together we shall rule the world. Crollo yelled like a madman. As he spoke, his body was shivering. Maybe deep down he knew he couldn't kill the demon in front of him. The instincts he had honed throughout his long life was telling him to run for his life. This guy sure is delusional. Rule the world. Don't make me laugh, even if you had 1,000 of the rune stones, there are beings out there beyond human comprehension. Thinking that, Argent stared at the altar behind Crollo. In a special box were 19 rune stones, with the one in Crollo's staff being the 20th, each possessing a large amount of life energy. Just how many have you sacrificed to have created so many rune stones? Argent muttered. I never thought those inferior beings would dabble in dark powers. They really are lower than I thought. Enough talking, die. Saying that he fired a beam of concentrated energy at Argent. An explosion erupted, the room shook as dust covered everywhere. Crollo calmed down thinking he had subjugated the demon. He stepped down from the altar, walking towards the site where Argent stood. That is really dangerous, you know. Someone might get hurt. Turning behind him startled, Crollo saw Argent holding the box that contains the rest of the rune stones. You vile demon, give that back. Yelling at the top of his lungs, he fired a beam of energy hoping it would destroy the demon. With a wave of his hand, Argent redirected the energy. The blast penetrated the wall. Crollo could not calm the sense of despair he felt at seeing such display of power. He had the overwhelming energy of thousands, he had the power of the rune stone, so why couldn't he kill the demon in front of him? Those were the questions running through his head. I am one of the greatest mages in the world. I will not be dominated by a vile being such as yourself. He tried to suppress the growing sense of inferiority. Greatest mage? Ha 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 ha, don't make me laugh. Argent couldn't believe what he was hearing. The high humans sure are conceited. They don't know their place in the grand scheme of things. It's best I put him in his place. Today the world will know the meaning of power. I will show you. Before he could finish his statement, Argent blitzed behind him and smacked him in the head. Crollo tumbled as he hit the wall hard. The entire room shook, threatening to collapse. Crollo was trying his very best to stay conscious. Walking up to him casually, Argent said, I'm sure your ancestor was in on this plan. Trying to rule the world. Very funny. It would be a shame to exterminate an entire race. Veldanava probably won't be happy if I did that. So I will use you as a scapegoat. Don't belittle me, you. Crollo stood as he condensed energy into spheres. He fired it at Argent, hoping to incinerate the demon whole. Prepared for a devastating explosion, Crollo erected a magic barrier around himself. To his shock, the energy attack disappeared into a black mist that gobbled it up greedily. Standing with a smile on his face, Argent said, You're really trying your best to survive, huh? Crollo's spirit shattered. How did you survive? That attack had enough power to destroy a small nation. Faster than he could react, he was smacked in the face again. That's enough from you. If that was your most powerful attack, then you high humans are weaker than you think. Argent said, mocking the mage who was trying his best not to lose his sanity. Weakly standing up, Crollo braced himself. I will not go down without a fight. Channeling the vast energy present in the rune stone, he fired barrages of energy attacks. Energy blades, energy lances, energy chains, etc. All sorts of attacks were thrown at Argent, who dodged every one of them skillfully. Since magic was sealed, there were very few ways to attack. It was funny how the person who activated the anti-magic spell was the one who was in desperate need to use magic. All Crollo had been using were attacks that made use of the energy from the rune stone. Realizing that none of his attacks were working, Crollo opted to use his glaive to cleave the demon in half. Channeling the energy into his weapon, he finally engaged in close-quarters combat. Every swing was executed with precision. Stabs and slashing attacks were thrown with the very intent of killing the demon in one strike. Argent, on the other hand, was having fun playing a game of cat and mouse with Crollo. He would sidestep for stab attacks, and weave through every slash headed his way with minimal effort, all while analyzing the fighting style of Crollo. He isn't good at wielding the glaive, but he isn't bad either. As a high human, magic must be his forte. He dealt himself a blow by activating the anti-magic spell on the walls. Let's take care of that, Argent thought, leaping to dodge another stab, landing seamlessly on the outstretched glaive, careful not to let his mass weigh the glaive. Such display of agility and martial prowess made Crollo's jaw drop. Before he could react, Argent jumped off the glaive and kicked Crollo's head with enough force to decapitate a normal human. Crollo smashed into the walls of the already decrepit halls of the tomb. His consciousness slipping by the second, only his mental fortitude kept him conscious. He stood up, looking menacingly at Argent. Fear evident in his voice, he finally asked, who are you? You are no ordinary demon. What monstrosity have they summoned into the world? The last shred of sanity leaving him after seeing just how outmatched he was. Are you finally realizing it? Argent asked as he calmly made his way towards Crollo. Stay away from me, you monster. I have no choice. As a last-ditch effort to save himself, he plucked out the rune stone from the base of the glaive and attempted to swallow it. Oh no, you don't. Finally having enough, Argent decided to end things quickly. He blitzed towards Crollo, grabbing the hand that held the rune stone at the same time using his other hand to deliver a powerful punch that sent Crollo flying. Crollo once again crashed through the walls of the tomb, but this time he crashed into another hall separate from the tomb. Argent, staring at his handwork, smiled. He looked at his hand that held the bloody arm which held the rune stone. Argent had punched Crollo so hard, the hand he held was ripped apart from his body. Taking the rune stone, Argent made his way to the heavily bleeding Crollo, who was trying his best to escape from the devil. His voice, Horse cried out weakly, Hell. Help. Me. J. Ya. Jahil Sama. His voice reached out to no one. His life force was dimming fast. We're finally out of that place. Good. We can now use magic. Show me what you can do. You obviously aren't a great close quarters combatant, but I bet you can do some awesome magic. Come on, show me. Argent was truly living the role of the devil he was thought to be. Crollo was having none of it. If he couldn't defeat this powerful demon with the rune stone while its magic was sealed, it made sense that he would also lose in a battle of magic. This was the reason why he was making an attempt to escape, making an attempt being the key word. If you won't show me your magic, then let me show you my magic. Argent generated an abyss core within his palm. Sensing his impending doom, Crollo attempted to save his life by firing off every magic attack he could. They were all useless. Argent analyzed and dismantled his magic before he could cast it while preparing his own spell. Let the true meaning of power be carved into your soul as you perish. Saying that, Argent crushed the abyss core in his palm. When the abyss core generated by nuclear magic is crushed, it releases waves that agitate spiritrons which, in turn, produce radiation in the form of a dark light. The dark light bypasses all physical and magical obstacles and forcefully rewrites the genes of living beings, resulting in death. Even the souls of every being within its radius are destroyed by the dark light precisely piercing their information particles. While dark light causes no direct physical damage to the target, the aggressive mutation normally causes the target's body to quickly decay and disintegrate, leaving nothing behind. This wave of magic spread covering the entirety of the region, reaping the life of every living organism. That is the terrifying power of the nuclear spell, Death Streak. A potent magic in which there is less than 1% chance of someone or something surviving. This magic bared its fangs at Crollo. True to its effects, Crollo was disintegrated, leaving nothing behind. Argent, satisfied with his work, said, "Not bad for my second contract after so long." He smiled. He had fully grown accustomed to being a demon. Although he still has his reason, his demonic nature still craves violence and death, which he has decided to embrace. Walking through the desolate streets, Argent was prepared to head back to his realm. Just then he sensed a powerful presence heading his way. Following that, a powerful storm swept through the vicinity in seconds. The sky wept heavily at the presence of such an entity. Lightning sparks shone brightly in the night sky. This presence, Argent thought, sensing the somewhat familiar presence. From the sky emerged a huge dragon. Its gigantic body is covered in black steel-like scales, with its wings and underside taking on a bluish color. The eyes of the dragon shone a deep golden, and the back of its head is covered with 4 horns extending backwards. With a flap of its wings, a tremendous wind pressure blew over the region, leveling the buildings that once stood as the home to high humans. Landing right in front of Argent, the dragon looked him right in the eye. "Are you Argent?" the dragon asked, its aura bearing down on Argent. It was a display of strength that surpassed common sense, as is the existence of true dragons. "Yes. You must be Veldora, am I right?" Argent asked with a wry smile on his face. His analysis showed that the dragon in front of him possesses immeasurable power. "Kuhahahaha, you were right. I am the mighty storm dragon, Veldora," the dragon claimed as it laughed out loudly, each laugh producing earthquakes. "Why are you here, Veldora?" Argent asked. The fact that Veldora didn't attack him the moment they met already put Veldora in Argent's good books. "Big brother asked me to call you over," Veldora replied. "Is that so? Do you know why?" Veldora replied. "No, he didn't tell me anything, just asked me to bring you to Damerganya." Argent couldn't help but wonder why Veldanava was asking for him. The way Veldora put it, it sounded urgent. Could something be wrong?